Today, we're going to take a look at this guy right here and help you determine if it's the right thermostat for you. Hey, what's up guys? My name is Brian and welcome back to vontech. On this channel, we mostly do tech reviews and tutorials, so if you're new here, consider subscribing for more videos just like this. If you are interested in anything I talk about today, check out the description box below for any related links. So the Nest 3rd generation thermostat is going to set you back $250. I know, thermostat, $250? Wow. Yeah, so what do I have to say about that? Well, it's an expensive device. Make sure you watch this entire video so you know all the features you're getting with the device, because there is a ton of different features that make it this expensive, and we'll get into that a little bit more as we go through this video. It also comes in 5 different colors. That's black, that's white, brass, copper, as well as stainless steel. So you really shouldn't have a problem trying to match it with your current decor in your house. It is also compatible with most 24-volt heating and cooling systems. If you want to double check and make sure that it's compatible with your house, which I completely recommend, I've left a link in the description box below. It's to a compatibility checker. Basically, it asks you a bunch of questions, just answer them, and it'll tell you whether or not the system, the Nest will work with your system. So now that you've determined that the Nest is compatible with your system, you go out and you purchase it, and you need to get it installed. Well, you can do it one of 2 ways. You can do it yourself, which is what I'll recommend, but I'll get to that in a minute. Or Nest actually offers a service online which is called Nest Pro. It'll search your area and determine if there's somebody, it'll tell you the local professionals that are certified to install the Nest itself. Honestly, any local HVAC guy or gal should be able to do it for you. It just really depends on what you want. Again, that's if you don't want to do it yourself or if you're having troubles while installing it. Now, if you're like me and you want to do it yourself, well, guess what? The process is super easy, so I would definitely recommend doing it yourself. Basically, all you need to do is download the app, the Nest app, add the device that you want to add, and then it walks you right through it step by step on what you need to do to install this device. And quite frankly, it's extremely easy. I did it in about 15 minutes. You can do it in about 15 minutes, I'm telling you. The app does all the work for you. It tells you exactly where the wires go. It tells you exactly what you need. And again, if you go through the process and you still have trouble, you can always then call a professional. My recommendation, try to do it yourself. If you can't get it, call the professional. So now you got it installed, what do? Well, it's simple. Just use it like you would a normal thermostat, and over the next few weeks, it'll actually learn what the most optimal settings are. So, for example, say every day before you go to work, you take the temperature, or during the winter, I should say, you take the temperature and you drop it down to 68 degrees. And then when you get home, you bump it up to 70, and you get home at about 5 o'clock. Well, after you do that so many different times, the Nest is gonna learn that at 5 o'clock, you like the temperature to be about 70 degrees. So about 4:30-ish, 4:45 maybe, it's gonna hit the heat on. So by the time you get home, it's gonna be nice and warm in your house. And it's gonna do the same thing in the morning. Just use the device and it'll end up just programming itself. And that's what the beauty of the Nest is. It learns. It's a learning thermostat. That's why you buy it in the first place. But on top of that, there's a bunch of other features that I find really fascinating. And I want to kind of list them out here so you guys are aware. The first feature I find really cool about the Nest is that it has an auto away feature. And basically, to sum it up, it turns your thermostat off when you're not there. Of course, you can set a low limit and a high limit so your dogs don't freeze or your dogs don't sweat to death if you have dogs or cats or whatever. But in general, if it doesn't sense that you're in the house, it'll turn itself off so you're not wasting money on cooling your house when nobody is there. The second feature I find really cool is that it has a split heat/cooling mode. And basically what you do is you set a upper limit and a lower limit, and it'll make sure it heats or cools as required. And although it might not be useful for everybody, but it is useful for me and my family, because in the area we live, it's not uncommon for us to have a really cold night where we have to heat the house and then have a really hot day where we have to cool the house. Yeah, it doesn't make much sense, but it happens to us, especially during like the fall and sometimes during the spring. So it's definitely something that I like to use because it saves me a ton of time having to go back and forth and flipping the switch from heating to cooling mode. And then I never have to worry about at night, forgetting that I didn't turn it to heating mode and then my son freezes because of it. So another really useful feature of the Nest is that you can actually can control your temperature via your smartphone or Alexa, or even your Google Assistant, which is very useful. So if you're laying in bed and you don't want to get up to change to turn the air conditioning on or turning it down lower because it's too hot in your room, you can just pick up your phone and change it right there. Yes, it's a little bit lazy, definitely a little bit lazy, but it's really useful. It really saves you some time because you can also do it when you're outside the house too. So say you're coming home from work a little bit early, and again, you're coming home early, so it's not typically used to it. You can just punch in on your phone and change the temperature right then and there, and by the time you get home, you'll be good. So the fourth feature I find extremely useful is this right here. This is let's see if we can get this to focus. So this is the Google Nest temperature sensor. I haven't opened mine. I've had it since I bought the Nest because it came with it, but I haven't opened it yet. And basically, if you have a hot spot or a cold spot in your house that just doesn't get, doesn't get hot enough during the winter or doesn't get cool enough during the summer, you can actually take this bad boy and put it in that room, and you can actually read the temperature from that room and run your furnace and your air conditioning based off of that rather than based off of where your thermostat is currently located, which is really useful if you have again a hot or cold spot in your house. Have kids and their room always stays cold. You don't need to have that issue anymore because you can put this in there, and then all of a sudden your house is being cooled or heated based on that room. You can also schedule it too. So say you have 2 or 3 of these, you can actually have it scheduled so that you can change which rooms it's actually heating and cooling the house based off of. So there's a ton of other features with this device, but the last one that I found very, very useful is that you can lock your thermostats, which is pretty sweet. And you basically just set it up and you put a pin number on it, and nobody can change the temperature besides whoever has the pin that unlocks it. And now you could just lock it and not let anybody touch it if you're kind of like that type of power hungry person in your house. Or if you have kids that like to fiddle with your thermostat, you can prevent them from doing so by locking it. Or maybe you're having guests over, or there's various different scenarios where you might want to lock it. But you do have that option. I found that really cool how you could potentially lock your thermostat if you so desired to. So that's just about it, guys. That covers basically the majority of the features of this Nest thermostat. And it kind of leads us to the question, should you buy it? And well, honestly, the Nest is a completely unnecessary piece of equipment. You don't need one to have your HVAC work properly. You don't need one for any of that. But that's not what this is really about. This is more about, should you buy one because you want one? And quite honestly, the device itself works so well that I can't do anything but recommend it. Honestly, if ours hadn't died, our previous thermostat hadn't died, I wouldn't have went out and purchased a Nest myself because I don't like spending the money. But when it did die and I had to make that decision, do I buy a $25 or $50 thermostat, or do I just say screw it and go with a smart thermostat? And I made the decision based off the fact that I thought about, hey, there's a lot of places in this area, a lot of different companies that have really solid return policies, and they'll let you test stuff out and then return it if you don't like it. And that's kind of like what my leaning point was. I was like, well, Best Buy said that I could, return this if I decided it's not what I want. So why not try it out? And that's exactly what I did, and I'm so glad I did. Quite honestly, if I had another thermostat die on me, I would not wait for 1 second I would not hesitate at all for buying another Nest. The device works really well, and I love using it. It's super convenient. Yes, it's made me a little bit lazier when it comes to changing stuff, but you know what? Hey, that's what the device was made to do. That's what smart devices are made to do, make our lives a little bit easier. Now, Nest claims that it will save you money over time, and it probably will because of the eco mode. However, you can't count on saving saving $250 that quickly. So I don't think that would be part of your decision making. Honestly, if you plan on living in your house for quite a long time, then yeah, I'd say go out and buy it. It's worth it. If you plan on selling your house in a year or so, maybe it's worth waiting until you get a new house. But in general, the device is absolutely awesome, and I couldn't recommend it more. And so that's about it, guys. If you like this video, make sure you elbow drop the like button, or judo kick it, or is there a judo kick? I don't even know. If you disliked it, make sure you do the same thing to the dislike button. But if you don't like this video and you didn't like the video, make sure you drop a reason why in the comments below. Let me know what you didn't like about this video. Be sure to comment in the comments as well about things, if I missed anything or you have any questions, and be sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on more content just like this. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Until next time, guys, I will chat with you later. See ya.